Hello, good evening and welcome to Prime Business. I am Pius Kojobaka. This evening, the price of gold has hit record levels on the international market. Various international trading platforms are quoting slightly above $4,000 an ounce earlier today. More in this report.
For some individuals, the immediate impact will be on the country's export earnings from the commodity. Data from the Bank of Ghana show that as of the end of August this year, Ghana realized more than $11 billion from gold exports. This was far higher than the $6.6 billion in August 2024, and these are only the official figures. The development has also gone a long way to help improve Ghana's international reserves, which have now reached more than $10 billion. This puts the Bank of Ghana in a strong position to support the cedi's stability. It is believed that together with Ghana's gold purchase program, strong export earnings and the dollar reserve accumulation program have played a major role in the cedi's sharp appreciation earlier this year. Some market watchers have even argued that soaring gold prices earlier this year also contributed to the recent economic stability the country is enjoying. But the interesting bit about these rising gold prices is their impact on illegal small-scale mining, popularly known as galamsey. Some industry players have argued that one of the major drivers of galamsey is the rising price of gold. This could push more people into the environmental menace we are trying hard to stop. Well, global investment giant Goldman Sachs has even projected that it could hit $5,000 before the end of this year.
The Bank of Ghana has announced plans to commence forex exchange intermediation under its domestic gold purchase program this month. We have more for you in this report.
According to the Bank of Ghana governor, the sales will be conducted on a spot basis through twice weekly, price-competitive auctions open to all licensed banks. The Bank of Ghana emphasized that there will be no earmarking or special conditions attached to allocations, ensuring a level playing field and transparent access for all market participants.
So, colleagues, as we celebrate these gains, let me stress that the task of consolidating stability is a shared one. Sustaining a stable exchange rate, or deepening credit to productive sectors, and expanding exports. These require close collaboration between the Bank of Ghana and the banking industry.
At the same event, the Bank of Ghana governor also called on commercial banks to strictly adhere to domestic regulatory provisions to help strengthen the country's financial system and sustain economic stability.
And in the same spirit, I want to urge banks to adhere to domestic regulatory provisions. I want to emphasize that please adhere to our regulatory provisions. Now, a number of areas to emphasize: the use of local insurance companies for import coverage. That's one issue that has come up strongly to help reduce foreign exchange leakages and build local liquidity. We also expect banks to take active steps toward public listing.
The central bank reiterated its call for banks to continue supporting export-oriented financial products, SMEs, and agribusinesses as part of efforts to promote sustainable economic growth.
Well, Governor Dr. Johnson Esiama also called on commercial banks to take bold steps in reducing their lending rates to support economic growth.
On the monetary policy decision and the outlook itself, on the back of this progress and in order to support the disinflation process while nurturing growth, the MPC voted to lower the policy rate by 350 basis points to 21.5%. This is the third rate cut in 2025, and this reflects confidence that inflation will remain within the medium-term target band of 8 plus and minus 2% by the end of the fourth quarter. We are mindful, however, of potential risks going forward, and you're talking about risks including global oil price volatility. There are risks to do with possible tariff adjustments, and then there are other risks that we have to consider, such as any uptick in the rate of in the movements of the cedi. But we stand ready to act decisively whatever happens, to safeguard stability. The easing in policy rates has already started to transmit through the financial system, and we are seeing signs of that. Treasury bill rates have declined from 13.4% in July to 10.3% in August. And average lending rates are down from 26.6% to 24.2%. We expect further improvement as banks realign their pricing models to reflect the easing stance.
Still on lending rates, financial analyst Nelson Kujo-Kwagbaji has expressed doubts banks will comply with the Bank of Ghana's appeal to lower their lending rates to support economic growth. He argues that the continuous rise of non-performing loans will deter commercial banks to lower their rates on credits advanced to the private sector. Speaking to Joy Business, Head of Finance at Merban Capital, Nelson Kujo-Kwagbaji said it will be difficult for the banks to comply.
It's a very difficult one because if you have a non-performing loans of 21% and you still want to give loans to the private sector, most especially the SMEs, the challenge we have in our country has to do with cost of capital. Now, do you think it will be prudent to give loans to somebody at 25% and the person will end up paying? What kind of business would the person do in a year to pay 25% interest? And so if interest rates should come down to, let's say, single digits, I believe the businesses in Ghana could go to the banks, borrow and pay. And that will eventually lead to the reduction of the non-performing loans of the bank. But to the extent that the borrowing rates or the cost of borrowing is very high, businesses will continue to default, most especially businesses that are into government contracts. Because if the government doesn't pay them, they will also not go to the banks to pay. So I believe that when the rates are down, say single digits, businesses can go and borrow. They can operate with a single digit lending rate and pay back the loans to the banks, and that will eventually lead to the reduction of the non-performing loans. However, if the rate continues to be high, the way they are now, people will borrow money from the banks, but they will end up not paying, and that will lead to increment in the non-performing loans.
Away from the financial sector, the Ghana Statistical Service has revealed that it will begin the production of regional and district economic growth figures in 2026. This is expected to commence after the completion of the rebasing, which typically recalibrates and incorporates new economic structures and data for efficient modeling. Here's more from the Africa Business Conversation, a thought leadership series organized by AB and David.
At the end of the Africa Business Conversation, a thought leadership series organized by indigenous law firm AB and David, businesses and other stakeholders charged the Ghana Statistical Service, GSS, to provide sector-specific data. According to them, this will enable diverse businesses to make better use of available data. The Africa Business Conversation focused on how businesses can collaborate effectively with the Ghana Statistical Service to ensure data-backed decisions. Senior partner at AB and David, David Ofosu-Dorte, urged businesses to take full advantage of the data provided by the service.
We must give credit to the GSS. There's a lot more they publish which is not highlighted, which businesses ought to pay attention to. So there were three things in this segment. One is the data that they publish just for World Bank and IMF. The other one is that are there data that they have that businesses should be paying attention to? And the third one was whether there are areas we can collaborate. So if you look at the second and the third segment of this, that was really the focus. And it turns out that they have quite a lot of data that either businesses are not aware of, that they can use in their corporate strategy, or in their presentation, they don't highlight it enough.
Panelist and professor at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Godfred Bockman, encouraged university lecturers to keep abreast of current industry trends and data to better inform students.
I think that in this country, it's not anybody at all who should qualify to be a lecturer. There has to be a strategy, okay, which will also inform who and who will recruit as front line in the classroom and the rest of them. And then we must be intentional also about what is given out there. Because for me, the more I engage, in fact, there were certain positions that I held a few years ago and now I'm revising. Because the more I interact, and I come here and I listen to people and the rest of them, it makes me humble.
Addressing concerns about the unavailability of sector-specific and regional data, government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu stated that the service is working on reforms to enhance Ghana's data systems.
Currently, the GDP we produce is at the national level, but we are currently embarking on a GDP rebasing exercise. And we want to believe that when we do complete that exercise, it will provide us the opportunity to possibly report GDP at the regional level. But all of these require money to execute. Rebasing we've started and we expect to complete it by next year.
Much like AB and David's Crystal Ball series, the Africa Business Conversation seeks to gather business leaders, strategists, and policymakers to discuss key issues affecting businesses and the wider economy.
Remember, you're still watching Prime Business. We have more for you after this break. Hello, welcome back to Prime Business. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Development Company, Professor Kobe Mensah, is calling for a stronger aviation sector to help drive growth in Ghana's tourism industry. Here's more.
Speaking to Joy Business at an event which brought together CEOs of travel and tourism companies, Professor Mensah highlighted the crucial role of aviation industry in supporting Ghana's tourism ambitions.
So we have set up what we call Ghana Tourism Investment Platform with a website called investintourism.org. We are listing places of touristic, investment, and then asking people to invest in that. So if you have a community and there's a river or there's a a heritage place that you think is worth investing in, just go to investintourism.org, take photos of those places, upload them and alert us. We'll follow up and then we'll come and profile that place and put it up, hoping that we can offer investors so many opportunities of tourism.
Regional General Manager of Amadeus, Jan Gilbert, said the goal is to connect more African destinations seamlessly and support the tourism value chain across the region.
Ghana is doing extremely well in terms of performance growth versus last year, and this is a bit different from the trend that we see in West Africa. So Ghana is doing much better than what it used to be, and I think Amadeus is benefiting from it because we are still gaining market share in Ghana. It means we are doing things right, I think, and Amadeus is there to support the travel agency and the airline in the ecosystem, travel ecosystem.
For Sky Airlines, the event was an opportunity to reaffirm its commitment to Ghana's travel market and the broader regional tourism agenda.
At ASKY, what we try to do is to always provide a level of knowledge for the industry, because this industry is very fluid. At any given time, you would have to be ahead of technology. And Amadeus is one of the huge organizations in our industry that provides a lot of base for all the technological systems that we use. When you come to ASKY, it's currently operating about 28 flights into Accra on a weekly basis. What it means is that almost every day we have 4 flights that connects into Accra.
With tourism seen as a major driver of Ghana's economic recovery, stakeholders agreed that strengthening the aviation sector will be key to unlocking the industry's full potential.
Let's now go to the Volta region, because Blemazado, a small community once defined by struggle, a new chapter is unfolding, one powered by hope, technology and opportunity. Star Oil Ghana has commissioned the first ever artificial intelligence smart lab in the municipality to equip young people with 21st century digital skills. More from Ivy Setoji.
It's a dream come true for the people of Blemazado, a small community in the Angloga municipality that now boasts the first ever artificial intelligence smart lab in the Volta and Oti regions. The facility, built by Star Oil Ghana in partnership with Coral Reef Innovation Africa at the cost of 1.5 million Ghana cedis, aims to expose students to robotics, coding and artificial intelligence, transforming how learning happens in deprived communities. The project was built in memory of Dr. Leonard Yang Kaleji, the late brother of the chairman of Star Oil, Togbi Honamato I, who founded the community's first basic school. Star Oil says the Blemazado facility is only the beginning, with plans to build more AI labs, health centers, and water projects across the country as part of its corporate social responsibility drive. Philip Kwame Teku is the CEO of Star Oil.
This project has cost us, including the infrastructure, nearly 1.5 million Ghana cedis. We believe that this project must be sustained, and together we'll be working with the community leaders, the Ministry of Education, and our partners Coral Reef to ensure that it is sustained for the foreseeable future. We are especially grateful to the Honorable Minister for joining us today. We sent him an invitation at short notice, and he responded very quickly because he saw this as a very good opportunity to bring this technology to the youth and people of Blemazado.
Managing partner of Coral Reef Innovation Africa, Richard Ose Enim, says their goal is to make AI accessible to every African community.
Is set up to build these labs. We're a Pan-African entity where we've got presence here in Ghana, Nigeria, Swatini, South Africa, partner with Access Bank, GDP, EcoBank, and a few others. And the idea is to make these immersion environments, AI labs, accessible to different communities. 3 words that describe the work that we do: access, equity, and inclusion. So irrespective of wherever you are, we can bring our partners together to be able to support you to set up these entities. Well, students, this is an opportunity for you to prepare yourself for the future of work. Increasingly, what we are realizing is that AI will not replace you, but somebody who can use AI or the technology better than you will replace you.
Government has also pledged to support the area's educational growth. The Minister of Education, Haruna Ejisu, announced that within 24 months, the people of Shime area will have their own community senior high school.
To declare the official Intelligence AI Lab Center, posthumously in honor of Dr. Yao Kaleji, formally and duly launched. And therefore, MC
Toby Honameto I, known in private life as Mr. Vincent Kaleji, is the chairman for Star Oil.
The whole world is developing to this direction, and I feel my village, where I was born and brought up, should not be left out. My elder brother set the pace by building the GSS school for the community. Despite he's not in now, he's not alive now, I feel I should continue his dream. So I am just fulfilling his dream. Oh yes, but not in this area alone. If you could remember, we built a school at about was it as a CK Copper. And so it is not this place alone. Whatever the need is, and attention is drawn, and that is found.
For the people of Blemazado, this is more than a project. It's a symbol of progress from a deprived farming community to a center of digital learning. The town is rewriting its story. Ivy Satoji, JoyNews, Blemazado.
A soil health and climate specialist at AGRA, Dr. Jeremiah Rojito, is calling on governments across West Africa sub-region to step up support for farmers as they battle the growing impact of climate change. More in this report.
Workshop, Dr. Rojito said smallholder farmers remain the most vulnerable to climate shocks and need stronger government policies and financial support to build resilience.
Part of the workshop that we gathered here today, we've been able to convince stakeholders drawn from various parts, various ministries, various institutions that are really working within the climate space. You appreciate that climate change is a big concern, and particularly here in Ghana, we're seeing the increased heat waves, changing weather patterns, and therefore it becomes very important for us to be able to come up with tools and initiatives that help us to be able to come up with methodologies to assist our farmers to be able to better adapt to the climate change crisis.
Senior researcher at Mathematical Global, Anthony Harris, emphasized that collaboration among government, private sector players, and research institutions is crucial to achieving sustainable agricultural growth in the face of climate change.
Well, this is a tool that will be very important for decision makers and policy makers at all levels to give them information at a high spatial resolution of where areas are vulnerable and where areas are exposed to current climate change risks as well as potential risks into the future. And ideally support them in making decisions about where to invest in adaptation and where to invest.
With climate change threatening food security across the sub-region, AGRA and its partners say supporting farmers through science, policy, and innovation remains critical to ensuring a sustainable agricultural future.
Thanks so much for watching Prime Business. I am Pius Kojo Baka. Prime Sports is next.